Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. It is Tuesday, August 13th. It's Ian Cameron. My Tuesday guest is Cam Lynch, and he will be along in just a moment. But first, before we get into the show, and of course, the Tuesday MLB card will be the focus. Looking for a little bit of a better day than I had yesterday with MLB. We had a great red hot run going, kind of came to a halt yesterday, but back at it today looking for better results. Before we get to that, though, I do want to mention, and here it is on the screen right in front of you, this show now sponsored by bitwallet.bet, online cryptocurrency sportsbook and casino. For those of you that have been in the cryptocurrency market, you've been looking for a reputable place to bet on sports using cryptocurrency, this is now the spot. Bet smart, bet anonymously. And the great news is 50% deposit bonus for your first 3 crypto deposits at BitWallet are available to you by signing up with this affiliate link that you will see in just a moment on the screen. There it is, bitwallet.bet/affiliate/Ian. If you click that link, and the link and all this info will be posted in the description and the comments below this video, this one, and of course, every subsequent video moving forward. Make sure you take advantage of this. There's not a ton yet of crypto sportsbook options. This one's a very good one. You're going to get all the North American sports, a lot of international sports, live betting, not just live betting, but live same game parlay betting, which is a really cool feature of BitWallet. Live dealers for casino games. So make sure you sign up if you've got crypto currency money on hand and you're looking for a place to bet on sports using crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the major cryptocurrencies. This is the spot. And again, you click that affiliate link to sign up. And again, you can get 50% bonus with each of your first 3 deposits. bitwallet.bet/affiliate/Ian. A great time of year, of course, with football right around the corner. Make sure you check that out, bitwallet.bet. Click the affiliate link to sign up. And again, if you do, you get 50% deposit bonus on each of your first 3 crypto deposits. All right, as far as the other stuff, we got MLB coming up in just a moment, but we've got a situation too where we want to look at quickly again the 6 months all sports. I'm just going to be brief. I've mentioned this every day, so not going to belabor the point. But again, $250 US 6 months all sports discount till August 24th. Only 11 days left to sign up for this, and it'll get you through to February 2025. Again, the next 6 months, all sports, entire NFL and college football season at Dub Club. The link is there, 22.2 units profit, college football, NFL combined last year. Again, $150 off the regular price, 6 months all sports, down to $250 for just the next 11 days until the first day of the college football season. Get on board for that now through February. Dub Club, the high volume card each and every day, every wager. The regular, the other subscription options are at normal price currently. 1 month, $75, 3 months, $200, 1 year, $750. And if you want a lower volume approach with just the top plays and the best bets, then make sure you sign up at SoBet. That would be the option for you if you're looking for something a little lighter volume. $9.95 per month. Again, SoBet is the best bet top play releases for me on a daily basis in all sports. SoBet.io. The link is there. $9.95 per month for that. All right, we've got Cam Lynch joining me in just a moment, and we are going to get going and take a look now at this MLB card here for Tuesday. And we will begin with the Miami Marlins taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. We've got Balazzo on the mound here for the Marlins, and a returning Taijuan Walker on the mound here for the Philadelphia Phillies. So a very interesting matchup. We've got Philadelphia minus 200 home favorites, 9 the total here in this matchup with the Marlins and the Phillies. I mean, I could definitely make a case for runs to be scored in this game. I've never really envisioned Taijuan Walker as a bet-on pitcher. He's not really someone I trust. And now you're talking about someone that's coming in off a long stint, away from the starting rotation with the finger injury. We'll see how he fares. He hasn't pitched in quite some time. He has a 5.6 ERA on the season, 5.59 ERA at home. Hasn't pitched since June 21st. So not someone I'm rushing to trust here as far as pitching is concerned. Meanwhile, on the flip side here for the Miami Marlins in this game, we've got Balozzo, I think is how you pronounce it. But it's going to be interesting to see how he ends up playing here for the Marlins. But again, with a lot of these Miami Marlins pitchers, there's really not that front line dominant starter like what they had years ago. And when you look at the numbers for Balozzo, he's actually been okay so far, but 4.5 ERA. He has actually struggled more so at he hasn't actually pitched much on the road because this game's in Philly. He's only pitched 5 innings on the road. And he hasn't given up a run, but it's a very, very small sample size. Certainly will be put to the test here by this very dangerous Philadelphia Phillies lineup. So I think you can make a case for this game to go over the total. If I were to bet this game, and I haven't decided yet, I would certainly be leaning in that direction. We welcome our Tuesday guest, Cam Lynch. He's here in the house now. Cam, what do you think of this first game on the card, Miami, Philadelphia?
Yeah, I actually agreed with a lot of what you just said. Like Palazzo, the Italian, I think that's his name.
I think Palazzo. Yeah,
Palazzo.
That's the way I'm going with it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a rookie. He hasn't showed me too much yet. He had a solid outing last week against the Reds. He shut them out over 5.2 innings, but he's only pitched 20 innings in total since he made his MLB debut. It's just too small of a sample size to make a really educated assessment. And Taijuan Walker, like you said, he's struggled all season. He's dealing with that index finger injury. I'm not sure how deep he's going to be able to go in this game. I do like how hot some of the bats are on these teams, especially Schwarber. 5 home runs in his last 10, and Jake Berger on the Marlins, who's got 7 in his last 10. I think there's a lot of value on a home run bet for either of these guys. $10, and that's you 42 for Berger. That's a tasty burger. I really like the over.
Too. Yep.
I like the over. yeah, he has. I think the Phillies are going to want to break this streak they've been on. They just went through a gauntlet of the Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Mariners, Yankees, so I can see them getting back on track against a Marlins rookie. So I'm taking the over, and I like the Phillies money line.
Yeah, Phillies, look, definitely the better of these two teams. I call him the Mexican-Italian here, Valente Balozzo here, because he's Mexican, believe it or not, but that's an Italian name if I've ever seen one. So I think he's got some kind of ties, maybe Italian parent or something, but regardless, I like over the total here with the Marlins and the Phillies. All right, we move along here. Next up, we've got the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Eric Fetty on the mound for the Cardinals and Hunter Green for the Reds. Cincinnati minus 130 home favorites, 8.5 being the total in this game. Eric Fetty, he's made 2 starts with the Cardinals since they acquired him from the White Sox. Struggled against the Cubs. He did bounce back, pitch better against Tampa Bay in his last start. So 1 good start, 1 bad start. We'll see how he fares here. I mean, Hunter Green's been bet on material all the way for me. I mean, he's 4-1. The Reds are in his last 5 starts. He's given up 3 runs or less in all 5. Just a single run prior to the last outing against Miami, where he gave up 3, which wasn't nearly as good, but still pretty solid. 6 innings, only given up 3 runs. Cincinnati wins that game comfortably. So I think Cincinnati's the side here in this game. They won the first game yesterday. It's a huge series for Cincinnati. They're trying to make up ground here in the NL Central. Crazy as it is to say, but, the Cincinnati team, they're 2 games back of the Cardinals right now. They do have work to do as far as the wild card's concerned, but they're only 4.5 back, with Atlanta kind of stumbling ahead of them on that 3rd and final wild card spot. The Reds aren't completely out of the playoffs yet. And if you read all the quotes, David Bell, the manager, Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, a lot of the key players on this team, they're talking the talk like, hey, we still think we're in it. So, and they're definitely playing like it. They sure did yesterday in the first game of this series. So I definitely favor Hunter Green a little bit here over Eric Fetty. I would only look at the Reds here around this minus 130 price. What do you think here with Cards and Reds?
Yeah, I agree once again. It's a pitching matchup that excites me. And Hunter Green, he's one of only 4 qualified pitchers with an ERA under 3. And this Cardinals team, like you said, is really struggling lately. And I like how hot the Reds are. I think they're a little bit better than their record indicates. The Cardinals just haven't been hitting with much consistency. And with these 2 aces on the mound, the under feels right. I feel confident that the Reds are going to take this one. Keeping in mind, they've outscored opponents by 13 runs over their last 10 games. They've been pretty scrappy. So, yeah, I completely agree.
All right, we move along here. This is also an early start, 6:40 Eastern. We've got the Seattle Mariners against the Detroit Tigers. George Kirby, Tariq Skubal We've got Detroit minus 115 home favorites, 7 the total in this game. Two pitchers I really like. I mean, there's definitely two pitchers that I look to back quite a bit throughout the course of the season. George Kirby for Seattle, obviously 3.13 ERA on the season overall. Not nearly as good on the road, but boy, he has been really good the last 3 starts, 2.6 ERA. Of course, it goes without saying, Tarek Skubal, 2.41 ERA. Just he's been great overall, but he's been even better here at Comerica Park. 7-1, a 2.41 home ERA for him here in Detroit. I mean, I would lean slightly to Detroit, but I do respect Seattle. They are the better team. Seattle is, starting to really heat up. They swept the Mets over the weekend at home. They really added to their lineup at the deadline. I don't know if I want to step in front of Seattle, but I sure as hell am not fading Skubal. He's been my meal ticket all year and a bet on pitcher all the way. So I'm probably going to stay off the game, just a small lean to Detroit, probably a lean to the under, especially in the first 5 as well. Cam, what do you think here? Mariners, Tigers.
Look at us. We're 3 for 3 so far, just agreeing on everything. But yeah, this is a rematch of last week, a pitching rematch where the Tigers put it away with 3 runs in the 9th. And Skubal and Kirby both looked pretty sharp. The Mariners are riding high from that Mets sweep. They outscored them 22-1 in those 3 games. They just looked unstoppable. The under is low to me, but with these guys on the mound and both teams' lineups being some of the worst in the league, the under looks enticing. I had some trouble making a definitive decision on this because I don't like betting against the AL leader for Cy Young candidacy, so I'm not going to. And we talked about that a little bit last week. I think the Tigers keep it close. Skubal goes deep and he ices this hot Mariners lineup. I'm going to take, Tigers as well.
Next up here as we continue along, another early start. Again, these are all like 6:30, 6:40 games. So make sure you're aware of this. There's a ton of games that start like at 6:30, 6:40, 6:50. There's a lot of that shit going on these days in baseball. There's another one at 6:40. Chicago Cubs, Cleveland Guardians here. I believe that's Matt Boyd, the lefty. I've not seen this guy for a long time. He is starting for the Cleveland Guardians. Javier Assad for the Chicago Cubs. We've got minus 155 on the Guardians. The total 9 across the board. I mean, what a crazy game last night. I had the Cubs, and they started strong. Then Imanaga Davida, unfortunately, hit the wall and had a bad inning. Cleveland got a big lead, and then Cubs came all the way back and tied it, only for Cleveland to get the go-ahead winning run in the bottom of the 8th, and they ended up winning 9-8. Crazy game last night. Assad on the mound here for the Cubs. He's been great here so far in August. 3 runs. Well, not great. I mean, 3 runs in 8 innings. It's solid. It's, he hasn't pitched deep into games. That would be the concern. But the Cubs are 4-0 in his last 4 starts. I'm tempted by them at this price because I don't trust Matt Boyd. I mean, this is a guy we haven't seen in a starting role for quite some time. If you look at the Cubs lineup, they have been hitting better lately. We'll see how they fare here. Maybe a lean to the over again. I didn't think last night's game would be high scoring, but it was. And suddenly Chicago, is like I said, they've been hitting the ball. They've been trending over the total, 7-3 in their last 10. 7-3 to the over for Cleveland in their last 10. So maybe some runs tonight once again with the Cubs and the Guardians. And I would lean Cubs now that this price has gone up to where it is. I mean, 155 now with Cleveland means you can get plus 135 on Chicago. I lean Cubs at that price. Cam, what do you think?
I don't know. When I looked at this earlier, it screamed stay away game for me. There's just too many uncertainties for me to want to lay any action on. Like Javier Assad, you were saying he hasn't gone deep into games recently. He's actually only pitched 6 innings once since May 15th. He just can't do it. And his ERA went from 2.17 to 3.24. He looked like a Cy Young candidate early on in the season, and he's just been ballooning. So batters are hitting him with a 2.43 average. And then Matthew Boyd, like you said, this is his first start of the season, first in a Guardians uniform after recovering from Tommy John. We talked about this last week that I don't like betting on somebody who's coming back from such an intense invasive surgery. So I actually feel some comfort betting the under, but I don't want to lay any money on this game, unfortunately.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, this is a good regional battle next up, Washington and Baltimore. We've got Jake Irvin for the Nationals, Trevor Rogers, the lefty, who's been kind of disappointing since they got him from the Marlins. We've got Baltimore minus 180 home favorites, 9 the total. I mean, it's the dog days of the baseball season, and obviously we know Baltimore's the better team. That's why they're minus 180. Sometimes you got to take some shots, and to me, this is an overpriced line here on Trevor Rogers in Baltimore. I've not been impressed with what I've seen from Trevor Rogers so far, not at all. He's struggled. He hasn't been anything to write home about. He's given up 6 hits or more in 3 straight starts. They've all gone over the total as well. I don't think he's pitching particularly well at this point in time for this Baltimore Orioles team. Meanwhile, you look at the Nats, they're actually hitting lefties pretty well the last 10 games, 256, averaging 5.6 runs per game. I don't think it's that bad of a matchup here for Washington. Question's going to be, what do we get from Jake Irvin? He's a guy with a 3.76 ERA overall, pretty decent numbers on the road, but last 3 starts haven't been the best for him, especially the last 2 where he gave up 4 runs, 6 hits, 5.2 innings against Milwaukee, and then 5 runs, 8 hits, and 5 innings against San Francisco. So he's kind of, declined a little bit. You worry with some of these young pitchers like a Jake Irvin, is the innings count starting to add up and fatigue starting to set in at this stage of the season. But I lean Washington here at the big dog price. I mean, I just don't think Rogers is deserving of a price of this magnitude. So Washington, it would be for me, take a shot with the plus money. And again, I would have to lean over with this total. And by the way, 3 straight Irvin starts have gone over. 3 straight Rogers starts have gone over as well. Cam, what do you think here? Nats, Orioles.
So when I was looking at Trevor Rogers' game logs, I thought the record is alarming. The ERA is disappointing upon first glance, but I don't know. When I looked at the numbers, I thought he was surprisingly reliable over the last 2.5 months. He's actually only given up more than 3 runs on 1 occasion since June 9th. So he's getting hit, but the runs he's not allowing. So when I looked at it, I was like, don't let the record fool you. Like, I can see Rogers getting the best of this Nationals battery that doesn't contain a single batter with either a 300 average or at least 20 home runs. And there's not many teams that have numbers like that. I actually like the Orioles in this game. Did you say that over-under was 9, or I had 8.5? Did it move?
Yeah, it moved. It was, I believe it was 8.5. Yeah, it moved up to 9, but 9's the total everywhere pretty much now. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the under in that one. Actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I like what you said about these guys going over in their last 3 decisions. So I'm going to take the over, but I like the Orioles.
Pretty sure, too, the bullpens haven't been very good lately for these 2 teams. Let me both of them on the season have ERAs over 4. Oh, and Washington's bullpen 4.15 the last 10. Baltimore's bullpen 6.82 ERA the last 10 games. So I knew both bullpens were kind of rough. And the Baltimore, man, that's going to be the concern for Brandon Hyde come playoff time.
Yeah.
Does he have enough good arms in that bullpen? I'm not so sure right now, because he thought CNL Perez was supposed to be a good reliever. He struggled. You haven't gotten, they obviously have had injuries to, I believe, Bautista, the closer. But there's other guys that, have been good in the past for them, and they're not pitching as well this year out of that relief corps for the Baltimore Orioles. So I'd be a little bit concerned about that going into the playoffs. That's the part of this team that worries me the most. We know they have the lineup. We know the starting pitching's good enough, I think, to get them by, especially with Burns anchoring it. And of course, Grayson Rodriguez has firmly established himself as a good number 2 on this pitching staff, the starting rotation. But then you start to look at that bullpen, man, and are there enough outs? Is Gregory Soto going to get the job done for you out of that bullpen? Craig Kimbrell's a ticking time bomb. You never know what you're going to get from him. That's the guy that, Yenier Cano, he's still pretty good, but I'm talking about some of these other guys. Like I said, CNL Perez has a 4 ERA out of that bullpen. That's not what you want to see.
No.
And there's just a couple other guys pitching in that bullpen that, to me, it's just been a little underwhelming what we've seen from them. So that's the concern, I think, going into the playoffs for the Orioles, is that bullpen.
Yeah. Pitching wins playoff games. Yeah.
Exactly. Will they be able to get the big outs is the biggest, I think, concern and question with them. All right, Houston and Tampa Bay. Yusei Kikuchi for the Astros and Shane Baz here for Tampa Bay. Houston minus 130 road favorites, 7.5 the total in this game. Houston heating up again. They've now won 6 straight. I'm not stepping in front of a team that's on a roll like this. When a team's on a winning streak, I either ride the streak or I pass. And look, Kikuchi, 2 starts with Houston. He's given up 4 runs in 11 innings. Pretty solid. Houston wins both of Kikuchi's first 2 starts with the Astros after that trade with Toronto. Meanwhile, Shane Baz, for the Rays. Last start was kind of rough for him against St. Louis.
Yeah.
4 runs, 6 hits, 4.1 innings. I still like his stuff and think long term still could be a pretty good pitcher here. Maybe we get a low scoring first 5. I would lean that way. Lean Astros, but I'm higher on Shane Baz than the market is, and for that reason, it's enough to stay off taking Houston because I do respect Shane Baz a little bit more than the betting markets do. But at the same time, like I said, Houston's on this 6-game win streak. I don't fade teams on a winning streak, and I'm not about to do that here.
No.
Cam, what do you think here? Houston, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I like Houston. Yusei Kikuchi, he looks like a man possessed out there in an Astros uniform. Like,
it's amazing what going to a good team can do.
Yeah, I know. He's fanned 19 over his last 11 innings. And the Astros, they're collectively hitting 262, which is the highest in the AL. And going up against Shane Baz, he's only pitched 29 innings this season. I think the Astros take advantage of this matchup, win easy on the road. They've outscored their opponents by 16 in the last 10. And Altuve and Alvarez have this lineup bolstered going into the last 6 weeks of the regular season. So I actually really like the Astros minus 1.5. It's plus 130, and the over feels
why
right
not?
to me here.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you like Houston, you're going to get more value. And another thing to look at, too, especially when a team's on a winning streak and you're going to back them and you're going to look at the run line, how many times have they won by 2 runs or more? That's something you want to look at. And if you look at Houston during this streak, 6 wins in a row, just one of them came by a run. The other 5 wins during this 6-game win streak were all multiple run victories.
There you go.
So there you go. It might be worth it. If you like Houston, get the plus money on your side and take them minus 1.5 here in this one. All right, next up, as we continue along on this Tuesday, MLB card analysis. We've got the Texas Rangers and the Boston Red Sox. Jose Urena for Texas, and the struggling, and I mean struggling, Cutter Crawford. It has not been pretty for him lately. We've got Boston minus 145, home favorites, 10 the total. I hate to do this, but I have to take Texas, and I hate Urena. I don't think anything of Urena. I don't think he's any good at all. That being said, the first start was dreadful against this Boston team in Texas. He gave up 7 runs, 8 hits, and 4 innings, but Urena did pitch a little bit better last time against Houston. Once again, though, four innings. He didn't pitch deep. 2 runs, 6 hits. He did give up hard hit contact. He got himself out of trouble a couple times, so it was a little better, but it still wasn't great. 4 straight Urena starts have gone over the total. And then you look at Cutter Crawford, and since July 21st, 4 starts since July 21st, he has given up 22 runs over his last 18 innings. It's been terrible for Cutter Crawford. He can't keep the ball in the park. He's given up. No. This is insane. 22 innings, 4 starts. You know how many home runs he's given up? 13.
Yeah, I was
13 homers in his last 4 starts in 22 innings. All 4 of them go over. I mean, overs has to be the look here for me with these 2 teams and these 2 pitchers tonight. It's a high total. It's high for a reason at 10. I still like over. I'm going to take a small little snippet on Texas, though, just because Crawford's form is just diabolical right now, how bad it is. And this is not a ringing endorsement of Urena. This is just Cutter Crawford can't be laying minus 150 right now. So I will take a small bite of Texas, but the primary look, the one that I like the most here is the over at 10. Cam, what do you think, Texas, Boston?
Oh, yeah, I feel similarly. This is the poo-poo platter of pitching matchups today. Like, it's ugly. Like you were saying about Urena, he was lit up for 7 runs over 4 innings when he faced the Red Sox on August 2nd. He actually hasn't lasted more than 4 innings in any start since June 5th. So this looks like an early bullpen game to me. I know that the over is a little high, but I still like it at 10.5 just based on how these pitchers have been looking, and the Red Sox have been one of the best hitting teams in the majors.
Keep in mind, they only got 4.2 innings, Texas, out of Tyler Mahle last night. And then you look at Boston with Bayo. He only went 6, and that game went to extra innings. So these are 2 bullpens that are going to get a lot of work, and they already worked a lot last night. So that's not a good thing either.
Yeah, everyone's going to be tired on the pitching side of things. Definitely take the over. And I don't know if I like taking the Rangers. So I'm going to go Sox minus 150 on this.
All right. Next up, we've got, as we continue along here, it is the Oakland Athletics and the New York Mets here. A little interleague action. We've got Boyle on the mound. It's funny. We've got Boyle on the mound here for the Oakland Athletics for this start. We got the former Athletic on the mound here for the New York
Yep.
Mets. Yeah, Paul Blackburn shitting in the dead of night. We got Paul Blackburn here for the Mets. Paul Blackburn and the Mets minus 190 home favorites, 8.5 the total here in this game. This is a big fat pass for me. I don't really want much to do with it. The Mets, all of a sudden they get swept in Seattle. And look, Blackburn's been capable. He's actually, for the last couple of years, I think it's fair to assume that they've gotten more mileage teams out of first Oakland primarily. Now the Mets will try to get a lot of mileage out of Paul Blackburn, and he does have a 3.86 ERA. I mean, he's a serviceable pitcher, and he's pitched okay. My concern is 1.38 ERA, and it's always been this way with him when he pitches in Oakland. And then on the road, he's got a 5.59 ERA, and he ain't pitching in Oakland anymore. He's pitching here in Citi Field, his new home ballpark. So can he get that road performance to be better? There's still, to me at least, a little bit of a question there. Meanwhile, on the other side, for the Oakland Athletics, we've got Boyle on the mound here for them. We'll see how he fares in this one, but, not exactly trustworthy. This Oakland team is one of those teams where they could score 8 runs like they did in one game over the weekend against Toronto and then get absolutely shut down. His number 7.16 ERA. This should be a Mets win, but at minus 190, no, not interested. You'd probably have to play run line, I should say, if you're going to take the Mets here in this game. But I don't want to back the Mets, the slumping Mets who just got shut down by Seattle over the weekend. I don't want to back the Mets that badly, even though they probably do have the edge here. So pass for me. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I agree on all counts. The Mets look terrible against the Mariners, but with Joe Boyle on the mound, like we were talking a little bit about Cutter a minute ago. I don't know who's worse right now, if it's Cutter or Joe Boyle. Like Joe Boyle's given up 22 earned runs over 27 innings this season.
Could go Mets team total over 4.5. That's an option too.
Well, I like that. Yeah. But it's a stay away game. It's not much value. It's an over. It's a close over, but it's an over. But it's a stay away for me. I don't like it. It stinks.
All right, Kansas City and Minnesota. We've got Seth Lugo for the Kansas City Royals taking on, it looks like it is Matthews here for the Minnesota Twins. We've got Minnesota minus 120 home favorites, 8.5 being the total in this game. Obviously Lugo's had a very good season overall, and his number's still 2.72 ERA for the season. But I do want to point out he didn't pitch well the last time, and I worry a little bit about him. A little older guy. Is he still going to be able to pitch well last month and a half? Does he start to wear down a bit? Zebby Matthews, and this is going to be his MLB debut tonight. But again, this is a guy that's coming from AAA St. Paul, but he's 24 years old. He has a 5.68 ERA down there in St. Paul and AAA. That's not great. And he's really only in this starting rotation tonight for the Twins because Joe Ryan's on the IL. Chris Paddock is on the IL. They've got some pitching injuries right now, the Twins. This is not one of those top 5, top 10 prospects in the pipeline type of deal here with Zebby Matthews. So I'm not ready to fully trust him. And the one thing I've been doing lately with Kansas City is taking them over the total every game because their offense is hitting and their pitching's been terrible. And if you've been betting the Kansas City Royals over repeatedly, you're doing very well. 6 straight overs, 8-1 to the over in their last 9 games. Yeah, I'm a little worried about Lugo because he's capable, but he wasn't great in his last start. I think Minnesota can do some damage, and I think Kansas City's hot lineup can score against Matthews here. Again, a 5.6 ERA is not impressive to me down there in AAA. So over 8.5 for me here, Royals and Twins. Cam, what do you think?
Well, I'm kind of eating my words a little bit after being so enthusiastic about Lugo's last start against the Red Sox, the start where he gave up 4 over 5 innings. And Bobby Witt's forearm injury worries me a little bit. I'm not sure how swollen he's going to be coming back so soon from that hit by pitch.
Yep.
But
he's in the lineup, though, confirmed. Yep.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. He's just so fun to watch. But this feels like a welcome to the big leagues game where the Royals are going to have their way with Zebby. Like you said, he wasn't anything to write home about down in the farm system. So I want to lean towards the Royals here. I like the value up, I think you said plus 110. And I think Lugo's going to be motivated to bounce back to form after that poor outing last week. And take the under on this one, though.
Oh, liking the under. All right, there we go. Put an end to the Kansas City 6-0 over streak. We'll see if it continues here tonight in this one. All right, Dodgers and Brewers. We've got Gavin Stone and Colin Ray on the mound. Dodgers minus 115, road favorites, 9 the total in this game. Dodgers getting the victory in the first game of the series last night. Gavin Stone, last few starts haven't been great. 12 runs in his last 14 innings. That's not what you want to see. Colin Ray, I got to eat my words. I keep saying, it's not as good as as some of these numbers show, but yeah, he continues to pitch well. He does. And now I've got to give him his due because this is now 4 of his last 5 starts. He's given up 2 runs or less. So I'm off the Kool-Aid of saying Colin Ray is overrated and is due to regress. I've said that a few times and he just hasn't. So I got to give him his credit. He's pitching well. So I'd probably lean Brewers here. Ray's in better form. I took the Brewers last night though and lost. I'm not rushing to go back and pay the Dodgers again though. So I'm off this game. No interest. Great game to watch, but no betting interest. Cam, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Dodgers are up 3-1 in the season series. And they looked spooky and scary since getting Mookie Betts back in the lineup.
And look what he did last night, homer in his return. Yep.
He did, yeah, but he's afraid to stay at the hotel because of ghosts. So, which is a true story. It was on MLB.com or TV today. We got 2 solid starters here. Colin Ray, like I said, lights out. 4 starts, giving up 4 over his last 23 innings. He's fanned 30 over that span. And the Brewers play really well at home. And if Ray can be as sharp as he was last week against Atlanta, they got a puncher's chance to stop this rolling Dodgers team tonight. Feels like a safe under bet, and I like the Brewers at even money. But it's going to be a great game to watch.
Yankees, White Sox. We got Nestor Cortez against Jonathan Cannon. The Yankees, astronomical, minus 300. Road favorites, 9 the total, after getting just hammered by the White Sox. How about that last night? 12-2 beatdown by the Chicago White Sox, beating someone by a score of 12-2. So obviously the Yankees, they're not going to be happy looking to bounce back, surely. But Nestor Cortez, man, not been impressed. 1-4 in his last 5 starts. He's given up a ton of runs, ton of hits in most of these starts. We did see the White Sox finally come alive. Now, they haven't been hitting lefties. It's a question. I tell you what, I don't think it's the worst idea to take a shot White Sox first 5 full game split just for something small because Cannon is pretty good. Like Cannon, 3 starts in a row now. He's given up 2 runs or less. He's pitched very well for this White Sox team. The Yankees have never seen him. I think it's insane to have Cortez and his recent struggles out there as a minus 300 road favorite. I'm not rushing to bet Chicago, and trusting this a historically bad team to win 2 in a row feels like suicide. But nevertheless, this is a ridiculous price on Cortez because his form's not been good. So I say hold your nose and take a shot at the plus money with Chicago again here tonight. Cam, what do you think? Okay. Yankees, White Sox.
Yeah, I was actually going to see how you felt about me saying taking the money line at plus 240. We talked at length last week about Cannon, and he came through for us to break that losing streak against the A's. I feel overconfident in betting on him again today. But like you said, he's looked great in 3 straight starts, only 4 runs over 19 innings, all quality starts. And Nestor has not looked good over this last month. Now that Jazz Chisholm is dealing with that elbow injury, I'm not sure how confident I am that this is a Yankees lock. I think there's some fun value to be had taking the Sox money line. I think it's an under game.
Yeah, I'm neutral on the total, but yeah, no doubt I'd take a small shot here with this White Sox team at this price. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just incredible how overvalued Cortez is right now, who's obviously been in a very bad form. So we'll see how, bad form. Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if he can pitch better here against the White Sox. All right, Blue Jays and Angels. We've got Kevin Gausman and Carson Fulmer, the pitching matchup here. Blue Jays minus 120, road favorites, 9 the total, shaded to the under. It's not been a great season for Gausman, but he is coming off one of his best starts. 2 runs in 8 innings against Baltimore. Although don't be fooled by the 7-6 final score. All those Baltimore runs came in the 9th inning against the bullpen, which almost blew it for the Toronto Blue Jays in that game. But he did have his best start in a while. We'll see if he can keep it rolling here. I mean, Carson Fulmer's stat line has been pretty much identical. 2-3 runs, and he goes 4, 5, 6 innings. And that's pretty much what you get from him. We'll see if he can pitch well here tonight. Pass for me. I mean, I'm just totally off this game. Not interested. What do you think here, Cam? Blue Jays, Angels.
Yeah, the Angels are actually pretty bad at home this year. Like they're 10 games under 500 there. And these two teams have looked pretty identical over their last 10, but the biggest thing that stands out to me is, like we said last week, Vlad staying so hot. 16 for 37, half of those being for extra bases. And Gossman looked solid again against the Orioles last week, going 8, giving up only 2. I think you already know what my call is here. Jays as the favorite at minus 125. Kind of have to. And I'm taking the over with 8.5 on this one.
Anyone that's knows me with this team lately should know what I like next in this one. Colorado, Arizona. Two lefties, Austin Gomber and Eduardo Rodriguez here for Arizona. We've got the Diamondbacks minus 200 home favorites, 8.5 the total. I mean, Arizona overs, and they just keep on cashing. Another one last night with the Rockies and Diamondbacks, 5-4 final score. What is it now for the Arizona Diamondbacks? Pretty damn good with the overs lately. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's 5-2, 5-2-1 to the over their last 8 games. Colorado's been in a bunch of high-scoring games the last 4. Gomber's not very good on the road. Eduardo Rodriguez made his first start with Arizona a few days ago against Cleveland. Didn't pitch great. Gave up 2 home runs, 3 runs, 4 hits, 5.2 innings. You look at both of these lineups, Colorado and Arizona. They're hitting lefties, both of them. Colorado, 286 average against lefties last 10.
Wow.
And the Arizona Diamondbacks, they're just absolutely obliterating left-handed pitching. 310 average, 6 runs per game against lefties. So
wow.
I had an Arizona over ticket last night. We're putting in another one tonight, over 8.5 here for me. Again, Rockies and Diamondbacks. Cam, what do you think?
Well, I thought Erod looked steady last week against Cleveland. Like he was an out away from a quality start. I'm not saying it was amazing, but it was reliable. They won that game, and it's pretty simple for me considering how poorly the Rockies are, especially on the road, and how intimidating this Diamondbacks team is still. We talked about how complete they are top to bottom last week, and I expect they continue this run they're having at home. So this is an easy Diamondbacks minus 210. And I'll agree with you on that over on 8.5.
All right, Pittsburgh, San Diego. We've got Luis Ortiz, Michael King, the pitching matchup at Petco Park, minus 240. Home favorites are the Padres, 8 the total in this game. Michael King, very good overall, 2.95 ERA his last 3 starts, pitching extremely well. He's actually pitched better on the road, not as well here at Petco, but he's still overall for the last month. He's pitched very solid. He's facing the same Pittsburgh team again. He just faced them 6 days ago. Same thing with Luis Ortiz. He faced San Diego just a few days ago. Didn't pitch terribly. 4 runs, 4 hits, 6 innings. Keep in mind, a lot of San Diego's runs in that game came against the bullpen. I think maybe a first 5 under. I think Ortiz also has better numbers on the road than he does at PNC Park. PNC Park, he has a 3.96 ERA. On the road, he has a 2.7 ERA. So maybe there's a first 5 under. Only the first 5 because these are some bullpens that are very shaky. Pittsburgh's got a 5.88 ERA in their bullpen the last 10 games. That's not very good. So maybe a first 5 under here. I do think San Diego gets the win, but not great value at minus 240. Cam, what do you think here? Pirates, Padres.
Yeah, it's one of the coldest teams in the league against one of the hottest teams in the league. Pirates have lost 8 straight, 9 of 10. They got swept by the Padres last week, and this Padre team, as you know, they've won 17 of their last 20. So you can see why the line is the way that it is. And Luis Ortiz was shaky in the start against them last week. And you know how I feel about teams getting a second look so close. This is an easy one for me. Not that I want to put money on it directly at minus 240, but I like the under at 7.5.
Right, final game, and this one, this was my best bet on the show yesterday, San Francisco, and a gem from Blake Snell. Unfortunately, Chris Sale was every bit as good. It turned into who was going to finally score in extra innings, a scoreless game, and Atlanta got a run, and San Francisco couldn't. So tough one there with the Giants last night. They're back at it tonight. Kyle Harrison, the lefty on the mound for San Francisco. Old man Charlie Morton for Atlanta. We've got San Francisco minus 110 Actually, pretty much even money, both sides, 8 the total. I'm still going to come back to San Francisco again. I know Atlanta, they did win last night, but you can't like the form. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games, and they were fortunate that Sale was every bit as good as Blake Snell, or else they lose that. The offense still isn't hitting consistently for Atlanta.
No.
Some games they do, and some games they don't. Morton is starting to fade like he often does in the second half of the season. He got blown up by the Mets on July 26th, 7 runs allowed. And then he got ripped by Milwaukee, 8 runs, 9 hits, 2.2 innings in his last start. Kyle Harrison hasn't pitched great on the road, but he's pitched very good here in San Francisco. If you look at his numbers, his home ERA is very solid, 3.47. It's better than his road ERA. If you look at Atlanta against lefties the last 10 games, it's not great by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm going to come back to San Francisco one more time tonight around minus 110 as pretty much even money. And as much as last night was low scoring, I'm looking at the weather situation in San Fran. I believe the wind's blowing out a little bit tonight in San Francisco. So, and sometimes when you get an extreme low scoring game one night and the same 2 teams are back at it the next night, sometimes you get a different result. So I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion this game goes over after we saw that very, very low scoring game last night, 1-0 in extra innings. Plus a lot of bullpen relievers, high leverage relievers were used quite a bit on both sides last night. So I think you could bet over 8 as well in this one, along with San Francisco. What do you think here, Cam? Final game, Braves, Giants.
Yeah, the Braves have not looked great over their last 10 games. They've just sustained so many injuries that I think they're having trouble staying afloat now. The Giants actually play quite well at home. They're 35-25, and the Braves are a 500 team on the road. The Giants team ERA is 3.7 over their last 10 compared to the Braves essentially at 7 as a team. The Braves have been outscored by 26 runs in those games, and it just really makes me feel like I want to take this Giants team. It also feels like an over with just how porous the Braves pitching has been. So yeah, I completely agree.
All right, Giants and over. I like that for the side and the total there in that one. Great stuff with Cam Lynch is our Tuesday guest each and every Tuesday right here on Bet with Bobano. And just a reminder again, 6 months all sports, $250. That offer is only on for another 11 days. So make sure you take advantage of it. All the links are in the comments section below this video. There's the regular prices of the Dub Club subscription, the Best Bet Top Play only lower volume subscription, $9.95 per month at SoBet. And again, one last time regarding the crypto thing, bitwallet.bet, the affiliate link is in the comments. And again, 50% deposit bonus with each of your first 3 crypto deposits with BitWallet. So make sure you check that out and get on board if you want to use crypto for sports betting. Finally have that option and available to you with the good friends at bitwallet.bet. All right, it is time for best bets here for this Tuesday. Cam, what do you got for us here for best bet?
I got another tasty 3-team parlay like I did last week. One almost hit, it was pretty close, but this week I'm doing D-backs, Padres, Royals money line. $10 will net you $45.50.
All right, there you go. Another 3-team money line parlay here for Cam Lynch with the best bet here for this Tuesday edition of Bet with Bobano. All right, my best bet here for this Tuesday card. That's an interesting one to choose from. And maybe this one's too, sometimes the obvious one doesn't always cash, but my goodness, feels too obvious that Texas-Boston should go over the total. So I'm going to go with that, though. Rangers and Red Sox, over 10. Urania, I don't trust. And Cutter Crawford, it's hard to be worse than Jose Urania, but you could probably argue that Cutter Crawford has been worse. So that's how bad it's been for him lately. So let's go with Texas and Boston, over 10 for my best bet here for this Tuesday MLB card. Great stuff. We're going to keep, actually, we've been quiet with the football preview videos the last several days, but we're going to get a bunch more posted throughout the week. We're going to get a lot of them done for the remaining NFL divisions and college football conferences that we still have left to preview. for the upcoming football season. Tomorrow, it's the weekly CFL edition of Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy. We'll get you ready for CFL Week 11. Tons of quarterback news. The big news today, of course, Nathan Rourke back in the CFL with the BC Lions. We'll talk all about that tomorrow on Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy. So looking forward to all of that. Another great show in the book. Shout out to Timothy in the chat. Everyone, too. Jorge Herrera as well in the chat. Hit the like button. And thanks for tuning in either on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter X to this edition of the show. For Cam Lynch, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. And we'll see you again tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of Bet with Bobano.